Hi, guys. Welcome back to Wednesday's classic rock version of Waxing On. And today, as you can see, we're featuring Chicago. Now, I was kind of late coming to the Chicago fan base. Uh, my wife, she had all their albums. She was a big Chicago fan, and a lot of the ones I'm going to show you today actually come from her collection. That's hers too, but don't tell her. Yeah, I heard Chicago on the radio, and back in these days it was AM radio, and I heard the mixes that they were using for that, and not a lot featuring the big band sound or the horn section. So I was somewhat familiar with them, but it wasn't until I started listening to some of the albums she had, and I've got another one I'll talk about in a few minutes there, that I really got to hear what the band could do. The first few albums, Chicago Transit Authority, a 2-record set. This one, Chicago 2, another 2-record set. And it featured the hit 25 or 6 to 4, which I think was really the big breakout hit for them. But also a couple of tunes from the Ballet for a Girl in Buchanan by James Pankow. Make Me Smile and the classic Pankow, Color My World. Just excellent tunes. And a lot of things featuring the band. That was the difference between the AM radio and the albums, where the band really got to stretch out and show what they could do. It was like the AM radio tried to cut out all the extra stuff and just do their 2-minute or 3-minute song. So you really didn't get to hear it. I found that with Blood, Sweat, and Tears on Lucretia McKeevill, and some of those, they edited down the single version from what was actually on the album. And the album had a lot of really interesting stuff. The next Chicago album, again, that I recommend is from the early years. This is Chicago 3, again, another 2-album set. Now, after this, actually with these two, both of them came with large wall posters, all the lyrics included. They were great for giveaways, and they were pumping out 2-album sets here. We figured Transit Authority, Chicago 2, Chicago 3. There's like 3 albums of 2-record twofers when you pick them up. But then they go one further with the Carnegie Hall concert and do a 4-album set. So they're pumping out a lot of music, and a lot more than, that 1 or 2 hits off an album. And a lot of great stuff that's worth checking out. The Carnegie Hall one came not only with the giant posters, the lyrics, it also came with a 20-page booklet that had background on the band, extra photos. There was a lot of giveaways. So you're getting a lot of value for your money when you were picking up Chicago. Now, when I first moved down to this area, I'm in a small town outside of Ottawa, I moved in with a fellow, and we shared an apartment. Now, he was there first. He had his own stereo system set up, but he was a big country music fan. 8 tracks, some albums. He had country music radio on all the time. But one time when he's away, I'm going through his stuff to see what's there, and I come across a Chicago album. Don't know where it came from. Don't even know if he knew he had it. And what it was Chicago 5, the Wooden album. And it was the first one that I really sat down and listened to. This is before I met my wife and heard all the albums she had. My first exposure to the other side of Chicago, Chicago 5. The big hit was Saturday in the Park. So it gives you some context of where we're at in their history. But as a brass player, to hear the horn section, this album really showed off what they could do. Lee Loughnane, Walter Parazaider, James Pankow, they were just excellent. Excellent arrangements. Everything was just so good. And to me, Saturday in the Park was kind of a letdown because that's the one I'd heard so many times. But discovering what else this band could do was really amazing. Now, I'm not going to say don't get the Greatest Hits album, because I usually recommend those to everybody as, a good introduction into a band. But most people may be already familiar with this group. So if you're looking at a Greatest Hits album, I would always go with the first one, where it draws a lot off these first 4 or 5 albums. The second Greatest Hits album is more when they get into soft rock. You get that stage And again, it wasn't one of my favorites when David Foster got involved and really was pushing the soft rock feel for the band and kind of took away from really what it was. Now, that being said, I've seen the band a couple times live. And yes, of course, when I go, I want to see them play the hits. I'm not looking for a lot of obscure stuff in a concert. You want to hear the songs you're familiar with. But when they do them live, the band really shines. The band's not back in the mix. The band takes some features. It's certainly different than listening to the greatest hits on CD or on vinyl. So yes, I'm the same as the rest. I'm not putting down greatest hits, but I'm saying there's a lot more to Chicago than just those hits that you heard on AM radio, and worth checking it out. So from Chicago Transit Authority through to the Chicago 5, Chicago 6, some excellent music there. If you're a horn player, really great stuff to take a look at. If you think you know Chicago based on what you heard on the radio, you really don't know what they're able to do or what they're capable of. So take a little time and check them out. They're on the streaming networks. Hard copies are available. As always with streaming, be cautious or be careful who you deal with, because some of them pay better money out to the performers than others do, so it's always nice to check that out. But if you're a horn player or you just like classic rock, take a look at Chicago, those early years, and see what they were all about when they got started. Okay, that's it for today, guys. We'll see you on Friday. Everybody have a great rest of your week and take care.